Hey, Kyler here. So before we start the video and everything, I'm going to apologize first in advance. I'm leaving this part in the video because it's good safety learning moment. I've been dealing with cars my whole life. I know what you can and what you shouldn't do around a battery. When I'm hooking up, I touch metal to metal, and I know better. I'm being careful, but it was a lapse of judgment. So when you're watching this video and we get to the hookup and everything like that, just know, don't do what I did there. Hook it up the same way, but don't use the wrench to raise the lug of the positive up a little bit unless the negative is unhooked. Technically, I should have unhooked the negative and then powered and then hooked my positive up to the post and then tightened it down and then hooked my negative back up. I did not do this, but always before you're going to work on anything electric or you're going to just anything electric in your vehicle, unhook the negative battery post first. So I apologize for this, but I'm leaving it in there as a learning opportunity of what can happen. And I'm lucky that I was quick and I did not get shocked. But just pay attention to what I did and don't do that when it comes to that part, and you'll be fine. And always unhook the negative battery post first. Hello everyone, it's Kyler again. So on this install, we're going to be installing an LED under the hood light kit. So basically, not going to need much for this. You're going to need a 10mm socket wrench for your terminals on your battery connectors. You're going to want some sort of cleaner. I'm just using a glass cleaner and something to wipe the spaces off with where you're going to stick the lights. So I am using Nilight's LED under hood LED light kit. It's got 2 sections. It was about 17, 18 bucks. I got it on Amazon. I'll drop a link in the comments if I can get it down there. And basically what we got here, small little box, probably 8 by 8 inches. So open up the kit. So it looks like we've got the little push pin, and that's what you install. That way you can open up your hood and the light automatically kicks on. And then when you push your hood back down, it shuts the light off. So we're gonna attempt to install and use that. And then we've got the kit itself. So we're gonna open this bag up and see what we got. So first glance, everything looks like it's put together well. We got our wire. We've got the original light switch. We might use the light switch, I don't know yet, but we got the wire, the fuse relay, and then the lead runs for each light. And it looks like each one, I don't remember how long they are. They're roughly about 16 inches long. So we'll get them set up and see how they work for it. But like I said, overall, it's a really good price point. It's a huge upgrade for if you have to work on your vehicle in the dark, or you're stuck in the middle of the night, or you need under the hood. So we're gonna get this taken care of. Thanks for watching. In addition to what I had earlier, I have some protective wire loom here that is heat resistant, that'll go under the hood. We're gonna put our wire in this when we run it. That way it stays secure and it stays protected from the heat underneath the hood. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pop our hood, and we're gonna talk about all the places everything's gonna go and take a look at everything under the hood from there. So, go over here. If you don't know where your hood latch is, it's right underneath the steering column. It's a little pull button. Go under here, open your hood up. All you gotta do is find that lever, pull to the right, open your hood up. So, okay, so a couple things to note. I want a good view of my hood. So we're probably gonna put each strip right here. That's seeming like a good place. We can run it underneath the sound dampener. We can run it up against that at the angle. So I'm gonna put a strip here, and we're gonna go over here and we're gonna put a strip here. And since our little pin switch is going to be installed, what we're gonna do is GM actually put a little hole right here. So what we're gonna do here is I'll show you right now. Open this up. So if you take this, you can put it down in there. And like I said, when it compresses, lights turn off, decompresses, the lights turn on. So we're actually gonna use that. And this will act as our ground because it's going into the chassis. It's hooked up to metal. So, and then we'll just attach the little piece down here to the positive cable of the battery. So that's what we're going to do for all of that. Okay, so something that I don't like is the kit just leaves you with the wire, which you can cut it to make it a little more a little longer, and then yeah, you can just put it under the bolt and cinch it down, and essentially that's going to be fine. But I want a nice little connector piece. So right here on the wire, it tells us it's all-wheel gauge, it's 1015 wire, and it tells us that it's 18 gauge wire. So I have an 18 gauge spade connector bit here, and we're just gonna take this. So just get all of your wires. If you're familiar with connecting wires and splicing and stuff, just take a heat shrink tube. So since it's still connectable, we're gonna go, I should have thrown my heat shrink tube on first. So we're gonna try and tighten. I don't have the nicest electrical equipment, otherwise that would have crimped down, because there's specific crimpers will crimp down a certain amount of force that's needed for each gauge. But I don't have that stuff because I'm not all fancy and rich. So I'm making sure this is in there still and that it's got a connection. And well, see, it doesn't seem to be working out for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to start over, and that's okay because we've got more of these bits. So once again, I'm going to take my wire, I'm going to straighten it out. Get a new spade bit, and we're just going to start over, which doesn't hurt anything. It's always better to start over. So once again, we're going to take it, we're going to put it in our red section. You put it right there, and you crimp down nice and tight. And I'm going to use a little extra force. And you don't want to rip on it and rip at it, but you want to tug it a little bit and make sure. So see, nothing's coming out. It's not coming off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our connector here, and we're going to put it in here, and we're going to bring this up some, right to about right there. And we're just going to heat it up. And it's heat shrink tubing. Oh, and get solid connections. It's a bit of a cheaper bit. I got some heat shrink tubing ones coming in, but they're not here yet, so this is going to have to be usable as a spice for now. So we'll let that heat, just shrink it down, just heat it up to like 165, 170 degrees, something fancy, but just keep going around it, and as you see, it's shrinking down on the tube. So let's just kind of get that connection in there and make sure it's nice and tight. Just keep it going. So got that right there. It's nice and tight on there. That's not coming out. It's not going anywhere. So we're solid. So now all we got to do is just connect that onto the battery terminal, but we're going to do that last. And that's going to be one of the last things we take care of. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, like I said, I'm going to go here along the side. That's not pushed down. So I don't want it to land on anything or do anything crazy. So if I pull my hood down, I want it to be sitting there. So I'll probably actually just run it on this flat piece because I don't want my light getting covered up by this. So we'll run it here. So the first thing you want to do is, like I said, I'm taking glass and chrome cleaner, and I'm just going to take it and let it beat me until I can pop it off. And then just take a few paper towels or napkins, whatever you got, and we're just going to clean that section off. That gets all the grime and debris, because all this adhesive is pretty strong. It still needs as much surface to stick to as possible. So we're just going to go over here. We're going to clean this section off really well. Looks like I just need to clean my hole underneath the side of my hood, but do what we can for now. So we're going to clean it off, get it wiped off so it's dry. Okay, so once you're happy with that, next thing you want to do is go ahead and just take your light, kind of get it, see where you're looking at, see where you like it, where you can line it up at. This gets a good glimpse of my engine bay, so I'm going to say right here is pretty good. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take our adhesive strip here, and it's super strong stuff, so it's a little stubborn coming off sometimes. So we'll peel it off. Once again, we're going to get it lined up about where we want it, which was about right there for me. So I'm going to stick it into place and line it up down the hood, and then just give it a nice firm push. Don't try breaking it or anything, but just give it a nice firm rub down. That way it sticks into place. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the other side. We're going to do the same thing on that side. So I'm going to take some more glass spray and another paper towel and spray myself because it's gone all over the place. and we're gonna clean this area off. Like I said, just get it nice and good. That way, in case it gets you, you can take a bath while you're doing it. Just get it nice and cleaned off again. Got that. Go back, wipe it off. Wipe it down, make sure it's dry. I'm giving it like 3 or 4 wipe downs because there's still stuff coming off. So once you get no more coming off of there, at that point, you're good to go. So we're gonna come back up here. I'm looking at where I lined it up on the other side. It's about right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my adhesive off again. Get the same thing, get it set up right about where you want it. And then run it down along that line. And get it stuck on there. And then give yourself a nice firm push straight, because the wire and the lighting came bent in at an angle. So it's gonna wanna curl a little bit, so just make sure you straighten it back out. Might even be a good idea to go ahead and take it the night before and just bend it the opposite direction. I didn't think about that, but it might bend it back the other way. So got these both mounted right here where I want them. So that's it for that. We've got all of our pieces together. We've got everything ready to connect. We've got our lights on, our area cleaned. So the next step is what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some wire protector over the wires and figure out where we're gonna run them and how. So we'll get to that next. Okay, so I went ahead and pre-cut my wire loom to this. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in there and feed it through. Which might take a second. So, and when I'm editing the video, I'll make it go super fast. That way it zooms through this and it takes like 2 seconds to go through the whole thing. Okay, I can just feed it like that. Ha-ha! Winning! Do this on the next one before, but we'll show them how we're doing it on this one, and then we'll do the other one off camera. Okay, so here we have it. So I got my little piece through, and essentially I'd like my connector to be there, and be able to connect it like that. So I'm gonna run this all the way back up. Make sure we're good to go. I like where that's at. So the next step we're gonna do is, it looks like I might have shorted myself by a couple inches, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and we'll make up with it on the other line side. So we'll go ahead and pull this through and we'll make it work for us. And that'll be okay. So now we've got it where we want it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna kind of tuck it underneath here a little bit, bring it down. We're gonna kind of come over here, and underneath a little more of a bend. So we're gonna bend another little piece here. Because this is just where I choose to put it. This is not where you have to put it. And actually it's not gonna hurt anything. So just for the sake of time, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna be running it down here with the grommet, the main grommet. So I'm just gonna take this and throw that over there because to get that out of the way. So I'll just go ahead and run it right here. There's a little hole right here on this that I'm gonna take it to. And I'm gonna go towards the back. That way it doesn't zip and pinch on anything and get muckered up or tore up. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie it right there, and we're gonna make do with that. And just as you do it, zip tie it down as tight as you can, because you don't want any play. And that's gonna keep that to the side. That way when it goes up and down, I won't have anything to worry about. So right here, I'm gonna leave a little play room. I'm gonna take my next zip tie, and if you can zoom in over here and see this, just right here where it goes into the main firewall, that's where I'm gonna do my next zip tie. I'm gonna zip tie it right there. That way it has some play and it can still have some room to wiggle if it needs to when I open and close the hood. And I can also pull it a little tighter. And I'm gonna tighten and cinch that down real tight, and then I'll come over And we're just going to keep feeding it along this line and bring it over here this way. So I'm going to rest that there right now. I'm going to get one more zip tie. And I'm just going to feed it to the main grommet. And actually, I'm going to use my handy dandy stool to get up there. That way I can reach it. So I'm going to do about halfway through. Come down here. You can get your zip tie right. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. So feed my zip tie through. Now over here, I want it tight so it's not moving around. Once again, if you get a zip tie backwards, it's not going to work correctly. So we're just going to fix that mistake. Now we're good. So I'm going to tighten that up a little bit, cinch that down real good. That way it's not moving around. It's not going to get in any way of anything or anything like that. And then we're going to come over here. So I'll show you on another angle how we're going to wire all this in and do all this and get the other side taken care of at the same time. Okay, so I took the liberty of not wasting time, and I've got the wire protector on this other one. And as you know, we're putting all of our stuff down here by the battery, so we're not going to need all this. So what I'm going to do is we're probably going to leave that there, and then we're just going to bundle all of this wire back up the way it was. And we'll leave about that much out. And we're just going to take it and zip tie it together since we won't be using it. And at this point, you're probably questioning, well, what are you going to do with it from there? So once you get it together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it right down in here, and I'm going to run a zip tie through here. And actually, I need a little more slack now that I see it, so I'm going to pull this up there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it right here, and we're going to zip tie it right here. So I'm just going to come down here, slip my zip tie through there. Is this a good idea? Will it work? There's only one way to find out. So if you got questions or doubting, sorry, but you do what you got to do. So sorry for the time consumption. I can't see what I'm doing right here. I'm just trying to get that zip ties through there. So and bring this out. Looks like there's a bunch of, that is not good. Looks like there's a nest of some sort I'm gonna have to clean out later. So right now I'm gonna run my zip tie through from the opposite direction. And there we go. So now that I've got that set up, I'm going to take this back down here. And again, we're keeping in mind and leaving room for the hood to collapse and reopen. So we're not going to make it too tight. We're just going to do that so it's got some wiggle room. So it's on this side. And we're going to pull that a little more, and we're going to do a little zip tie to here so we can keep it out of the way and on that side of things. So just zip tie it to that. That way, as you can see, it's not getting in the way of anything, and the hood can still close. And it opens back up, no problem. And actually, that might be a problem. So either way, I'll figure it out. Work what works for you. Do what works for you. Do what works best. So for now, I am pretty happy and content with that. So we're going to take our next step, and we're going to go right here and finish tightening that up and wrapping that and zip tying that wire over here so it's on the final bit of this loom, and make it, like I said, make it nice and a little bit tight. That way it's not in the way of anything and it can be unplugged easily. So now the next step is to get our condensing pin over here down into place. So we'll do that next. So I'm not going to pretend to know all. This is my first time dealing with one of these push switches things, but I know it doesn't have to go all the way down. It needs to go at least halfway down, but you're going to have to put and install this to where you can adjust it and how far up and how far down it sits. So you're going to have to do that. But the first thing is we're going to take this bottom nut off, and it's a 12 millimeter. So like I said, we're going to put it on here, and then we're going to tighten it up. So I'm going to take that, and we're going to leave it right there, and we're going to bring this down, the top screw down, just to right there, and we're just going to tighten that up, just finger tighten. So we're going to see where the hood decompresses. We're going to see where the hood decompresses. We're on to some of the final steps now. So we got the last bit is our power connection. So like I said, it doesn't really give you an option. You can choose to use this. You would just have to take your ground and ground it to the chassis. But we're gonna leave the switch on and then let the little flipper do its job. So it's just less cutting and less hassle. So I'll figure out where to put everything. But the first step we're gonna do is we're gonna connect our ground piece down here, and you just plug it into the bottom of the switch. Once you do that, just push your little cover piece up there. Make sure everything's covered. Looks good and golden to me. I like to make sure it's covered on both sides. This is supposed to be waterproof and everything like that, but we still want to make sure we can reduce any water that might come through and get on it. So the next step is we're going to plug our positive in. Now I did check under the fuse box. It's got a 5 amp fuse. 5 amps they put it with it, so I'm assuming it's only going to draw 2.5, maybe 3 amps. But if the fuse goes, I'll just upgrade it to a 10 amp, and we'll just take care of that problem. So what we're going to do right here is check and see where we can connect it to. That way it's not going to squish down on anything in that box. So looks like my best thing is I can connect it right here and just drift it over and down some. Actually, that's probably going to be my best bet. So we're going to try that. Like I said, this is my first time doing all this, so I don't quite know what I want to do with everything yet. I just know what I can do and some more simple stuff. So we're just going to take that. We're going to loosen that up. And I don't want to touch that. And we're just going to bring our wire under this side. We're going to bring it up, and we're just going to get that to raise for me a little bit. That's why we don't want to touch that very much, people. So I'm going to be more cautious because my ground is connected. So there we go. I raised it up just a little bit. Now I'm just going to slide that on there. It's on there. If you don't come close with death, you never have any fun. And I always have to double check myself to make sure my wrench is right. So now we're going to take this and we're going to tighten this bad boy down. Let's say that's good. And then I'm just going to let it come down here. And that's not going to be doing any crazy pressing or crimping on it. And we'll let the box shut. So, like I said, I'll figure out where to put my power button and everything from here. But for now, we'll go ahead and take this and we're going to plug our lights in and see where we're at. And we're going to find our piece down here. Bring it up. Tighten it in. And now for a little test. There you go, folks. So got it on, and we'll test the theory. Yep, decompressed, so we'll just leave it on and let it decompress. But that's it for that. So I'm going to get the rest of my stuff set up, and then we'll do our overview run through of where it's at and what I did. And then, yeah, we'll wrap this video up with lights completely off and see how well it lights it up for us. So on to this final step. So we got everything done. Everything's hooked up. Those of you, yes, I know, I work on the edge and the wild side of things. I've been doing this a lot. I know how to deal with batteries specifically and safely and everything. So before you start commenting on the sparking, yes, I know it was a no-no, but I did it anyway. Be smart when you're working with stuff. Don't do that. So overall, I got everything hooked up. I'm turning the light back on for you. So we figured out barely compress. Like, see this? I'm barely pushing it down and it turns off. So it's going to shut off fine. No problem with the hood shut. I went ahead and I zip tied my wire here, and I put my power button right here, and then I zip tied the fuse box and the wires out of the way over here. That way, if someone ever has to go disconnect my battery or anything like that, they can just disconnect it here and it'll flop away with the grommet and be out of the way. So all I'm going to do that I have left to do is cut all the zip ties. And like I said, just keep your considerations on where your wires are at so they don't pinch. So if you see when this one goes to close, basically I've got it right here. It goes down to close. It's not going to cause a fire hazard or anything like that. Over on this side, it goes down, everything's out of the way. So we're going to go ahead and turn all the lights off and then see how this bad boy looks with everything in the dark. See how bright it is and what we're able to see. So now that we got all that taken care of, the final. How's it look? So I've got as much lighting as I can off. So we're going to take this on and see how well it lights up. That's beautiful. So in the dark, I'll have a really nice glimpse of whatever I need to see. It angles in, it's bright enough. I don't remember the lumens on it, but everything looks really good and it's nice and shiny, as you can tell. In the dark, I'll be able to see whatever I need to see and more. So this will be a super great upgrade that you can add. And like I said, it's less than 20 bucks. So adds a lot of light, adds a lot of features. It's an amazing opportunity for your truck. Simple upgrade, really cheap. So I'll throw a link down there for Amazon for the product in the description. And thanks for watching.